Hello, my name is Joseph Ramon, and this is my video documentary on the Special Ed 730 interview assignment. In the next few clips, you will be able to view the conducted interview with Mrs. Lytle. You will also be able to identify the questions asked by myself and the answers given by Mrs. Lytle. First question, what do you teach and what else have you taught?
Okay, as you said, I teach dyslexia, reading to dyslexic students now. I've taught resource, elementary. I've taught PPCD. I've taught and life skills, elementary life skills.
What drove you to become a teacher?
Um, I also have a 30-year-old with CP, so I've been on the parent side of special ed for a lot of years. And I think that's probably what drove me to become a teacher. I went back to school when I was, when my kids were in high school, so um, I felt that that was what God was calling me to do.
Uh, what are your reasons for teaching?
My reasons for teaching, because I love kids, because I want to. Reading is one of my most favorite things to do, and I would like to give all the other kids that ability to read.
Um, what is your philosophy of education?
I think you have to. You probably have to find out what the kids are interested in. Not everything's going to work with all kids, so my philosophy is to just reach all the learners in their own way.
Okay, question number 5. How do you meet the needs of all learners, especially those with disabilities?
One of the things I do is I talk to their classroom teachers, maybe to see what has worked with them in meeting with that. I read a lot. I use what worked with my own kids with disabilities, so I kind of draw from that.
Okay. What do you think are the 3 major challenges facing education today? I know it's kind of a tough one.
I think parental support is one of them. I think sometimes maybe this is the kids' safe place. This is the place where the kids are safe, and you almost don't want to say something about their parents because maybe their parents don't support them in their educational thing. And sometimes when you try to call parents, you can't get a hold of them.
Yeah.
I think behavior is another problem that is very rampant today. I think some of these kids don't have the background in the behavior, so they don't know how they're supposed to respect adults or anything. I think behavior is a problem. I think another thing is, in my case, I do 45-minute classes. They're pulled out of the classroom, and sometimes I think there's just not enough time, and I know that's in the regular classroom too. There's a lot you have to cover, and there's just not enough time to do it. So.
Okay. What are the most important elements of being a teacher?
You need to love your job. You need to love kids. You need to have patience.
Yes.
You need to go at it realizing that you're not going to get, paid as much as some of the other things.
Yeah.
But you have to love what you're doing.
Yes, I think that's very important. How do you engage your students?
How do I engage my students? Sometimes you have to start with something that you have to find out what each kid kind of likes. If they're into drawing, if they're into that, sometimes you will use one of those kind of things to just bring them into the thing. Sometimes we use little exercises, physical exercise. Sometimes they just need to calm down when they come in the room, so sometimes you do that.
Okay. What are some specific instructional practices you do that you implement in your classroom? You kind of just covered it, that you do special things. But
yeah.
To go into a little more detail.
Well, this program has a specific curriculum, the MTA curriculum, which is multisensory teaching approach, and it's based on an Orton-Gillingham method. And so it's a very structured thing. So you're starting the kids out, no matter what grade they're in, when they start the program, they're starting out learning basic sounds, and it goes up through how they learn different ones. So they'll learn all the different sounds of the alphabet and stuff. So it's a very structured program.
Okay. And what are some specific behavioral practices that you implement into your classroom?
Contacting their classroom teacher. We use a little thing where they have sticks for actively participating, for maintaining self-control, staying on task, following directions, and then they can actually get a sticker at the end if they can do all those things. And then they get 5 minutes for each of those stars that they get by the end of the week. So on Fridays, whenever I do my dibbles, my reading progress monitoring, then at the very end, if they have 10 minutes, they'll get the last 10 minutes free time. I have an iPad, I have Nook and different computers and different kind of games that they can use.
How do you continue to evolve in your practices?
Reading.
Reading. Just keeping
Reading.
Yeah.
And I also, one thing that I have been doing is I look at some of the things like on Facebook and stuff, not just teaching things, but the way I have one that I'm looking at now that is a student that grew up being dyslexic, and it's how he has dealt with it. So I kind of look at it from both sides.
Okay. Describe your biggest challenges as a teacher. Something that challenges you now or has challenged you in the past.
Probably behavior.
Behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And describe your greatest achievement while being a teacher.
When those kids have that aha moment and all of a sudden they realize, that they finally caught on to something. Or whenever the kids that come in here, they've been struggling in the classroom. Sometimes they feel like they're dumb, they can't do it, and suddenly when they finally realize that they're not dumb, yeah. So
okay.
that's the biggest thing.
Is there anything you wish you had to help better your instructional practices? Something that the school may not be able to afford, or something like that something that maybe if it's not even something that is realistic, but you wish you had it.
Oh, I would love to have iPads for every kid.
Okay.
These kids, that's something that really interests them. So I would love to be able to do something like that.
Okay. Is there anything that limits you as a teacher?
Not enough time.
Not enough time. Yeah. Okay. In education, what are your goals? Like, what are your goals?
What are my goals?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Right now, I'm not sure.
Okay. We'll come back to it.
Okay.
We'll pause it and then we'll come back to it.
You mean goals for me?
Yeah. Well, goals like as a teacher, is there a certain position that you want to get to while you're teaching? Or is there, and you can take it any way that you want, but we'll come back to it.
All right.
What type of advice would you give a beginner teacher? And you've given me tons of advice, but
find a mentor.
Find a mentor.
Find
okay.
a mentor.
What did you take away from being a special education teacher?
Compassion. Patience. Just knowing that I've made a difference.
All right. And how does your special education background help you as a dyslexia teacher?
I think it makes me knowledgeable of a lot of different approaches that are going on. It also makes me I know a lot more about IEPs and stuff like that I wouldn't have known if I hadn't been a special education teacher.
Okay. What are the biggest challenges you see facing children today?
I think some of them are, one of the reasons why some of them are so energetic is because they're just not getting enough exercise. I think there's some, they're not getting out and doing things. They're not, so when they're in school, they're not they're not really able to focus a lot because they're just not getting all the exercise they need.
Okay. So going back to question 16, what are your goals in education, like for your personal goals? So.
Well, I've worked with adult literacy before and adults getting their GED and stuff, and I think that would be one thing that I would kind of like to do is I would like to work with adults getting their GED, doing reading, that ones that struggled through school. Another thing I would love to do is I would love to go teach over in Africa.
To reflect on the interview, I think Mrs. Lytle answered all of the questions truthfully and in the same manner that I believe many other teachers would answer the questions, especially on the part question number 12, the biggest challenge as a teacher, and she mentioned behavior. I think behavior for all teachers is probably the biggest challenge. And then the next challenge would be is that parent-teacher collaboration, because although we wish all parents would be very involved in their child's education, many aren't, and that becomes a huge struggle. And that really creates like a huge barrier for us teachers, especially as special education teachers, where I believe we have to pay even more attention to the child and their specific learning styles. And to answer the question, if the answers that were given are consistent with what I've been learning, I would say yes. Because first, let me mention, I don't want to sound as if I know everything there is about teaching, because I do not and I never will. But everything that I've come across and everything that I've been taught in this course and what I've experienced for myself, it all seems to really relate with each other and it makes a lot of sense. So yes, I think it's very consistent and it's only helping me get better and better at what I do. To conclude, I would like to thank you for taking the time to view this video documentary. Um, I hope I covered all the aspects of this assignment. Once again, my name is Joseph Ramon, and this is my video documentary on my interview assignment conducted with Mrs. Eva Lytle, Caldwell Elementary Arts Academy's dyslexia teacher. Thank you.